You guys are right on time. This is great. All right. Well, as other people join the room, I know we always tend to be a little fashionably late. We'll invite them in. Um, my name is Bettina Wildhaber. I'm with the Career Center. I am your primary liaison, career advisor for the College of Humanities and Fine Arts. I'm also the liaison for the College of Natural Sciences. And today we're going to talk about the art of networking. So this is part of a HFA series, and we've been doing different alumni panels, and we've been providing different career workshops. And so this is helpful for all students in regards to networking. If you have any questions, we are recording. So there are some students that are not able to make it today. We want them to be able to see the recording. So if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat box. I'm going to make sure I have that open right now. And then also, don't hesitate to unmute yourself and ask a question if that's easier for you. It's being recorded, so your question will be in the recording, but we would absolutely love your participation, and if you need any clarification, have any questions along the way. So I will go ahead and get started. So the art of networking. So we're going to be talking about how can we create connections and also find opportunities. The opportunities don't always come to us. We have to do a little bit on our part to get ourselves out there. And there are a couple different ways that we can do that. It definitely, networking is both an in-person and an online, a virtual opportunity. Our in-person will hopefully be opening up a little bit more in the fall. And so hopefully we can find some more of those opportunities. So we're going to primarily talk about what those opportunities will look like, and then we'll focus a little bit more on the actual online networking component. So let's just start with, you guys should all be able to see my screen. I'm going to just assume that you can. Maybe give me a little thumbs up icon, or maybe Kylie, just let me know. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I don't always trust technology. All right, so let's just talk about first, where do we network? Maybe you guys can use the chat box. Where are some places or where can you create these opportunities to be able to network? What does that look like? And have you done that in the past? Or how would you network with people in the future? Either unmute yourself or use the chat box there. Silence. There you go. LinkedIn. Yes. We're going to be talking about LinkedIn later on. What about in person? Anybody want to share their thoughts on where would you go in person? What type of places would you go to connect with people? I know we haven't been doing that for this past year, but where would we typically go?
Maybe a stretch, like on my part, but maybe a temp agency or something. Maybe.
Okay. So maybe going to a temp agency because they have connections.
Yeah, then,
Ah,
or at the very least, they get you a job. Even if it doesn't last, you can just put that the experience on your resume for future.
yeah, that's really creative. I didn't think about that one, but yeah, if you were looking for a position, you could go somewhere like a temp agency, or you could come to your career center, right? So going to a place where they maybe have connections. I like that. Thank you for sharing that, James.
I'll definitely go to Career Center first once campus is open in fall.
Yeah, well, and you can see us virtually too. We're completely available right now virtually, but in the summer, I think we're going to start heading back into the office. So, um, so yeah, there are a couple different things, and like I said, you kind of see these on campus when we're in person, but like conferences or symposiums, um, or various events. This is a picture of one of our career fairs that we do. or different organizations. We have lots of clubs and organizations and ways that you can get involved on campus, and they all consist of many people, right? And this is a way for us to meet different people and get connected and hopefully expand our network. So just like what James was saying, like trying to find someone who maybe knows someone, right? And you don't always know who those other people are going to be in regards to the network, but that's where we have to put ourselves out there to hopefully find some of those opportunities that arise. Even just our friends, especially in college, think of, we're coming from all over the place, right? It's not everybody just lives in Chico and goes to Chico, right? We're coming from all over the place. We have international students, we have national students like coming from other states. And then we have, I mean, California is such a big place that we have this really beautiful kind of network just by creating the friendships that we create in college. A couple other ones would be something like a professional association. Now, we don't really hear about these until maybe we're in our major, like we're a little further along, usually like your junior, senior year. That's really when I first heard about this, and I had a professor recommend that I join to be a member of a professional association with the industry that I was, like, my major. This is an example of one, National Education Association, right? So if you were going into education and you were a member of this association, you would find other like-minded individuals or other individuals that have already been in the profession for some time, and then they share ideas, and it's just a great place to, again, network with individuals. It's also should be noted that as a student, there's typically a student price, right, to be a member. So there's usually like a nice little discount that comes along with that. And sports, clubs, events, right, various different just social activities where you can meet people. And it can be as random as this last one that I'm putting up here, your child's school play backstage. This is my kid a couple of years ago. And I actually landed a job by connecting with another parent who was helping backstage move the sets around. That was kind of what we were volunteering and helping out with. And it just happened to lead into my next job. I would have never landed in that role had I not volunteered for my son's play. So even think about those kind of opportunities that are not very obvious, but anywhere where you have the opportunity to meet someone could open up this opportunity for you. Let's see here. We are going to focus a little bit more on LinkedIn. So I don't know if anybody wants to share. You can use the chat or you can do a little hand raise or a little check mark. I know that we have options to do that if you have a LinkedIn profile. So I don't know, you guys have your, yeah, we've got, Kylie's got one. You guys can use your chat box there too. John's got one, awesome. So LinkedIn, for those of you that are not familiar with LinkedIn or don't have a profile, really briefly, you have the option to have a free account. I actually have a free account. Maybe I should have a premium account with the amount of I use LinkedIn, but you can do a lot with a free account. So it's free. There are some limitations, but not enough for you to not be able to experience the opportunity to network. So networking, obviously, yes, it's another social media platform because we all need another one of those. But the social media platform for LinkedIn is very different in that it's a professional social media platform. It's not a place that you post that you just got a new puppy or that you just changed the color of your hair or something like that. Those are not the things that we post on LinkedIn. We post things like check out this project I just did for our work, or I just got a new job, or I'm looking for a job. It's really about that kind of career professional development. They also have an opportunity to search for jobs and internships. And there are actually a lot of employers that just use LinkedIn to post their jobs and internships. We don't recommend that you only use LinkedIn, that you only use Indeed or Handshake, another job platform that we have at Chico State. We want you to use multiple job platforms because every employer is different where they're posting. We don't want you to miss out on those opportunities. But LinkedIn is great for job searching, and I'll show you how, when you're searching for jobs, how you can also see alumni that work for those companies of that job that you might want to apply for. So we'll go into that in a little bit. We talked about professional associations. Professional associations often will have a group page or a company page on LinkedIn where they're putting up different posts, and then you can connect with the members and the individuals in that association. If you are not familiar with what the professional associations are for your industry, that completely makes sense. Googling is a really easy way to do that. Just put association and then maybe put digital media or art history or education. We kind of change the keywords up that best fit your industry. But your faculty are key for that too. Make sure that you're checking in with your faculty and ask them, hey, is there a professional association that you feel I would benefit from? Because there's a big chance that they are part of a professional association. So they might be able to give you some insight on what that looks like and the advantages. You can also follow companies. So think of like Facebook, or Twitter, right? If you're following someone or following a company, then they start showing up in your feed. So it's very similar with LinkedIn. And then you can also get up-to-date news in your industry, right? Depending how you've connected yourself within LinkedIn to be able to see the content that's showing up in your newsfeed. Any questions on just the general kind of LinkedIn, what it's about? We're going to show you live. I'll show you LinkedIn and how we can use it. But any questions so far? Just looking at the chat. I don't see anything. Okay. All right. So go to this next page. Just before we go over to LinkedIn, I want to just show a couple of highlights and statistics. There have been some changes over this past year, naturally, given that we are in a more virtual world. And so things like remote jobs have increased by 2.5 times the amount. And it's actually a really interesting kind of trend that will continue. It's said that 35% of companies will continue this virtual work environment, because actually they can provide their services 24/7 because they can work globally. They know that they can have someone virtual, if their company is in the US and they have somebody, in Australia who can work that night shift right, during their daytime. Companies are noticing like, wow, this virtual global kind of opportunity can really help business, right? So you'll notice that those remote jobs, they're going to kind of stick around as this opportunity because it's worked for a lot of companies. Now, there are a lot of members on LinkedIn, but note that there are over 100,000 Chico State alumni, and I'll show you how we connect with them. Just in general conversations on LinkedIn, there was a 55% increase, right? In our virtual world, it kind of makes sense. Along with that, content creation has increased by 60%. And then there are a lot of companies on LinkedIn. Now, this is global, right? So we're including international companies too. So that's really helpful for anyone that was wanting to work abroad. The other thing that I want to show you is this. LinkedIn has statistics on kind of who's hiring. Let me see. I got my LinkedIn here, but I want to go to And I will put this in the chat so you guys all have it. I have mine bookmarked, so mine's just always here. But this is just insight, and obviously this is information that's coming from LinkedIn, right? That the analytics that they have access to. You can narrow down the content by industry. I mean, we could, for example, we could go to design, or we could go to entertainment. You can choose regions, you can choose the time frame. And that didn't show up very well. I don't know why. Let's do a different one here. Here we go. It's going to show you who are the top trending employers for that industry, and what are the jobs that are available, right? So we picked design. These are the top trending employers in LinkedIn, right? These are the top trending jobs: project manager, interior design, architectural design, graphic designer, landscape designer, right? These are the top trending. So you could even get an idea of, wow, creative director, I didn't even think to use those keywords when looking for a job, for example, right? So you might even get some insight of what keywords you can use when you're job searching. And then they also talk about various skills, like, and this is just in general, those top trending skills that you would need for this industry, right? SolidWorks, AutoCAD. I see that quite a bit on a Creative Suite, Adobe. I see a lot of that on student resumes when I'm working with the digital media, for example, digital media students. So I just want to make sure that you are aware that this exists, because I think it's just a nice little insight of what's happening. Okay, let's go to, let me make sure that was everything. Any questions so far before we go live into our LinkedIn here? And I'm just looking at the chat. So if anybody wants to chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, if you have any questions so far. All right. I always give a little pause just to make sure in case anybody has a question. All right. So let's dive in. This is my LinkedIn page. So we're going to use it as an example to kind of walk you through it. Now, when you create a LinkedIn account, you're first going to want to focus on a profile, right? That's just like any social media, platform. You have your profile. So we're going to go into my profile. Now, think of your profile kind of like a resume. If you have a resume, but you don't share it out with employers, then they don't know you exist, right? That's kind of the same thing here. You can go into LinkedIn and you can create a profile, but it doesn't mean that people are going to know you exist, right? And we'll talk about how do you get your name out there in LinkedIn so that you can be noticed. So your name, some people, if they have a maiden name, might want to include that for maybe people that recognize you by that name. This part right here is a headline. And if you can kind of see here on the right-hand side, here's some examples of, like, here's Ken Nass. He's another career advisor in our office. So Ken Nass, and this is the headline that shows up when you're looking at people: career advisor at California State University, Chico. This person put open to new opportunities. Right? So we really want to take advantage of that headline, because those are the keywords that are going to show up if a recruiter is looking for you, or if you really want to highlight just through your name and your headline what your purpose is, what you're looking for, what you're open to. Are you an employer? We're hiring, right? That's a common one that I see to let people know that they're hiring. So I'm kind of curious, if you get an opportunity in the chat box, put maybe the industry that you're interested in going into, or maybe what your major is. I'm kind of curious on where everybody's at here attending. So just chat in the chat box there. What is your major, or what industry would you be interested in going into? And I'm going to keep talking while you guys type those in there. So literature, editing, copywriting. Awesome. Keep going with those. There's a couple more people here, so I'd love to hear about either your major or what you're interested in. So for editing, copywriting, literature, right, you may want to, in your keywords, make sure that you're using that content, right? Are you an editor, right? Like maybe you're an editor for one of our college newsletters or publications, and then you can say like editor of, and then you could put that and to highlight it, knowing that that's kind of the direction you want to go into, and those would be really good highlights to have on your headline. So think about your headline. You are limited to how many characters you can use, but you can see like I used a pretty significant amount of that. And I think you can even go longer than this. Fine arts, photography, videography, studio arts. Awesome. Love it. If you had an online portfolio, right, especially in the arts and even in the literature, right? Like, do you have a blog or do you have something online that showcases your work? You could have, like, actually, here's an example. I maintain a website, and this was off of my graduate studies. This was my project. So this is my highlight. This is where you could highlight a website you would want people to go to see your work. Awesome. Okay. There's also, LinkedIn just added this open to. If we click on this, are you open to hiring? That means like, right, I'm an employer and I'm hiring, or that you're open to finding a new job. And when you do this, I'll click on this. Actually, I'll show you. There'll be some that will show up because I don't obviously want to add this to my profile because I'm not looking for a job. Very happy with where I'm at. But as we go through this, you may see some of the, there's like a little banner that shows up that says it's green and it will say open to work, right? Or it will say hiring. I think the hiring's maybe in like purple or something. So we'll probably come across some examples. Okay. If you already have a resume, this is very easy. So you would end up copying and pasting over your content. So here's an example of where I've copied and pasted over, my bullet points from my resume and brought them in here. I don't have bullet points yet for my career advising position because I've actually never needed to put it on my resume. I haven't needed to use my resume for anything else. You can also include things like projects that you've done. There's another section where you can do projects. If you have done any public speaking, those kind of things you can put in here. If we go down here, then you have your education. When you have your education and you start typing in California State University, Chico, then it will have you click on it and it automatically connects you to California State University, Chico. And this is where you get to see alumni when we're looking for jobs. So I'll show you that. Any licenses or certifications can go here. And then skills and endorsements. These are like, you can put in what skills you have. People can endorse them. So the people here that have gone in and endorsed them. And your accomplishments, there are various, you can do publications, right? So if you've done any research, or if you have a project, or maybe you've done some design work for certain clients you want to showcase. It's kind of interesting to have patents. I don't know how many of us actually have a patent, but it's kind of a funny one. Any courses, if you're looking to do an internship, courses might actually benefit you, listing out the courses that you've taken, the names of them, projects that you've done, honors and awards. So you have different languages. If you know a language, these are additional ones that you can add to this. I just have these two right here. And your interests are going to be people and companies and organizations and professional associations that you're following, right? So people can see who your interests are. I'm going to scroll back up the top here. This activity. Now, this is really important because I'll use LinkedIn to find alumni to come speak on panels. And if I notice that the experience hasn't been updated for a while, like maybe it says that they are an intern and they've been an intern for 10 years, like it's probably haven't updated it, right? That they're not active on LinkedIn. The other thing is, if you haven't posted in the last 90 days or shared or liked a post or anything, had absolutely no activity on LinkedIn, it will say this person does not have any activity in the last 90 days, right? Any activity that you do on LinkedIn will show up here. So any postings, sharing, liking, commenting will show up here, right? Questions about, oh, and you can feature certain projects or things you can feature, and it will go up to this top section here. And I missed this about me section, right? This is just kind of that summary, like a professional summary, or just kind of like a little bit more about who you are and what you're looking for. So this is just that little intro that you can add. And again, make sure you include as many keywords as possible kind of for what you're wanting to use this for. You can add profile sections. I think I have a lot of the sections on here. Oh, there is volunteer experience. So if you wanted to separate your experiences, I think I just have everything underneath work experience. And here's your featured. So if you did a post or there's an article or certain media that you want to, like example, like your online portfolio, we can feature that up top. I want to talk about the photos really quick. Your profile picture, we're kind of wanting like elbow up, right? We don't need the whole body profile because then we lose your face because you're like a little ant in that circle. So kind of elbows up or shoulders up, like have that headshot. And then we avoid shadows. So like if you have a hat on or you have sunglasses on, right, then we can't see who we're trying to connect with. So we advise to make sure that it's very clear headshot. And a non-distracting background, right? It doesn't have to be a white background like mine. Like you could have, bricks in the background or, but just something that's not distracting from who you are. Now this banner, I've advised students, depending on what your industry is, again, what are you using LinkedIn for? You can put something like if you are a photographer, maybe you put one of your photos as the banner, right, to showcase it. Or maybe you go into Canva and you stitch together a couple of your photography and then you put, John's photography, or if maybe you have a brand name for your photography and have that as a banner. I put a picture of Mount Lassen because again, I mean, like I'm not using LinkedIn to, search for a job. So we would be using this for different reasons. But I put Mount Lassen because I spent a lot of time there. It's really important to me. And so it kind of just showcases a little bit of maybe what my interests are outside of work. So that's why I chose to do that. Okay, questions about profile. And either unmute yourself or use the chat box here. All right. Okay, I'm going to keep going then. Okay, so we talked about, let's go to the job search first. So we'll go to jobs. There's a little briefcase up here. And let's say that we're looking for a copywriter position. Now, LinkedIn and platforms like Indeed have included this remote option because it's just a thing now, right? It was not as prevalent before. But so if you are looking for remote opportunities, especially while you're still going to school, and that would be a nice like part-time opportunity for you to be able to maintain that, gosh, you could be working for a company that's based out of New York. You could be working for a company that's based out of Europe, right? But you're working remotely. And that's really a great opportunity for us right now. As we're going down, so here's an example, TikTok. I think all of you probably know TikTok, I'm assuming. This is where I wanted to showcase the little emblems. Here's the Chico State emblems of alumni that work here. So here's Kendo Brands, 2 alumni work here. TikTok, 4 alumni work here. Amazon, 166 alumni work here or have worked here. Sometimes it picks up somebody that did work there. But what's really cool is that you can see who they are. With TikTok, these are the people, you get to see them. If you are networking, and any of you that are here, or any of you watching the recording, you can see that my little name there, Bettina Wildhaber, feel free to just go to this homepage, search for my name here, and connect with me. The reason is that will start your journey to build your network up, because this person is second to me. That means, here's our mutual contact, Ken Nass. So that was one I was talking about. He's a career advisor in the Career Center. Ken and I are first contacts, right? We directly connected with each other. So this person is second to me because he's connected with a first, right? So a friend of a friend. We can also see thirds, a friend of a friend of a friend. Anyone beyond that network, and we'll probably see some examples, you're just going to see a generic LinkedIn profile, kind of gray person picture, and you're not going to be able to view their profile. You can't see their name, and you can't connect with them. So we have to at least starting to connect with people. So go ahead and start with the people that you know, so you can continue to get closer to those people that we don't know. Here is a recruiting coordinator at TikTok. Hey, if you guys are wanting to work at TikTok and you are, well, this is third, right? But if you connected with me, then maybe you're able to connect with her. You would connect. So this is message. We want this connect button. The message is for those premium members, people that are paying. So what we do is we click on the person's name. See, there's a little lock there, message. This person has not put a profile pickup and has not put a banner. This is what that default looks like. This is what you're going to see when you can't look at somebody's profile, but this person actually just doesn't have this content loaded up. If you go to these 3 dots, you can hit connect here. Now, I'm not going to hit connect because I'm not wanting to connect with her quite yet, but I actually might want to connect with her since she's a recruiting person at TikTok, and we have a lot of students that would want to work there. When you hit connect, then a pop-up window shows up and it says add a note. If you click add note, you have something like 300 characters to write a message. That's our free version of emailing or sending a message to someone, okay? So build your network up, be able to see someone's profile, and then you can connect and add a message. And they say, hey, Tiffany, let's see what I see that you are a Chico alum and I'm working at TikTok. I'm actually thinking about applying for the internship that's available and see that you're a recruiter. Can you give me any insight? Right? You've just already made that connection because you guys are Chico State alum, right? You have this connection already. So look through and or did they work at another place that you've worked at, or you want to try to find some type of connection with them. And as a recruiter, right, you can always reach out to recruiters because they're looking for people who are interested and have the skill set. So that's jobs for you. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. The other thing that you can do here is, if you were interested in, for example, this creative copywriter position with TikTok, you can also click on the icon, the company's icon, and it will take you to their company page. So this will be an example of, so we have jobs, we can see people's profiles, companies have pages, and then I'll show you an example of a professional association page. So we have an opportunity to follow TikTok. And actually, I'm going to follow them because I do have students that are interested in working with TikTok. So I want to make sure that I have the update information when they're posting. Couple things that you want to look for. Do they have a logo here, a profile pic? And do they have a banner? And this is what I was talking about, the photography, where you could have multiple pictures up here. You could create it maybe in Canva or something. The other thing that you want to look at, so there are tabs here, is posts. Are they posting? Typically, I look at this before I start following them. I just kind of assume that TikTok would be someone who's posting. So you want to make sure, like, are they active on their page? And now, because I'm following them, this content will start showing up in my main feed. Now, we talked about you can have a profile, but it doesn't do anything to have a profile unless you get your name out there. So how do we do that? Well, one way is if you're interested in TikTok and you see how different voices come together at TikTok and you think that this is a really interesting, oh, look, it says, if you're interested in joining us, browse open positions and apply. Maybe you watch this and you get some insight and you can give it a thumbs up. There's thumbs up, celebrate, support. They're a little different than on Facebook or something. So you could do a thumbs up, or better yet, you could add a comment. Now you don't have to go super in depth about this. You can be it can be as simple as, wow, this is really interesting. I'm so excited about the opportunities that you're providing, right? Here, this is a 1-minute read, 10 breakthrough technologies. Notice how nobody, look, be the first to comment on this. Now, if you liked the page, TikTok will see that Kylie Sharp just liked your page. I'm picking on Kylie because I can. So the company will see that in their analytics of who's liking their page. Now, if you were the first to comment on a post right here, wow, this was really interesting article. I've actually started to, I noticed that I have, I'm proficient in at least 5 of these. I guess I'll start learning more, right? Or whatever it might be. And it could be simple as like, this was a really interesting read, right? Then what happens is TikTok sees the notification, Kylie Sharp commented on your post. And they're like, ooh, what did she say? Right? Because we all want to know what people are saying. And then hopefully they respond. Now they're seeing your name. And they may even click on your profile and look at your content. Like, who is this person? Oh my gosh, she has all the skills that we're looking for. Hey, notify our recruiter. They should contact this person. I think that they would be good for this job that we have coming up. Right? You just never know what that like or what that simple comment can do for you. We're going to go back here. I talked about, so you go back to the home screen, you just click this little link in here. So here's an example of your feed, right? It's very simple in regards to the same kind of design that you would have in another social media. I also want to touch base on those professional associations. I was trying to look for some examples earlier, and one of them would be like the Digital Media Association. I was trying to find some things that revolved around HFA. Now, remember, you should ask your faculty, or you should Google and try to get some insight of what these professional associations are for your industry, so you can connect with people. So Digital Media Association. Now I'm already following this. Posts, we can click on their posts here and you can see, again, what are they posting? And is there anything that I can, thumbs up or like or share, right? You can also see, and it doesn't look like there's a lot of people in this one, unfortunately, but you can also see the employees that are connected with this association. I'll show you an example of one that I'm connected with, like the National Association of Colleges and Employers. That's one that I'm a member of. And this is a closed group. So what that means is that when you come here, it'll have a little button, it'll say request to join. So you hit request to join, and then somebody has to say, like, yes, you can be in our group because you have similar interests or industry. So you can come across those. Don't hesitate to request to join. Worst case scenario is they don't accept your request. But here I can then look and see all of the, like there's 34,000 members in this group, right? And then I can see all the people that are in this group. Here's an example. This open to work, we'll look at this one. Here's that open to work banner that I was talking about, if you're open to work. Okay, and look at this person really got a lot into their heading, right? Their header. Okay. I'll give you an example of how this works. I also have the National Career Development Association. This is another one that I'm connected with. Opportunities, like why do we network, right? Well, you want to support people that are like-minded, and that could even be strangers. But if they have the same passion or the same kind of role that you're doing, like other career advisors, we just naturally have this connection because we kind of get each other, even though we don't know each other. It could be in the opposite side of the world. For example, there was one individual that wrote, hey, I'm starting a podcast, and I'm going to be doing different career development topics. Does anybody have suggestions of topics I should talk about and have guest speakers come on? And I'm really passionate about neurodiversity, which is a type of diversity, type of group of individuals. And it was what I studied. And so I put that in her post. Oh, I really think that you should talk about neurodiversity in the workplace. And she wrote back saying, wow, that's a really great idea. Would you like to be the guest speaker? And like, that was not something that I was anticipating, and happening. But it was an opportunity that just happened because I happened to put a comment in there, make a suggestion, right? And now I've made this great connection, and she's in Georgia, right? I would have never met this person. And like, even if we both were at the same conference, right? The chances of actually running into her, well, I mean, who knows? So LinkedIn is this other platform that we can do to be able to, connect with individuals. Questions so far? You guys have been very patient and listening. I've got one more resource for you guys before we're ending here, but I just want to make sure that there's no other questions, either in the chat box or unmute yourself.
Bettina?
Yeah.
I don't have a question, but I was just going to throw another example in there that ever since you showed me how to use LinkedIn a couple months ago, I've been using it to connect with students who are current students in a graduate program that I'm looking at, just to really hear what their experiences have been in the graduate program to decide if it's a good fit for me. And I've actually made some pretty strong connections where we're checking in with each other like once a semester and just sharing progress and sharing experience. And that's, I think, been really empowering to like make a best decision on how to move forward for me.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, so you can look for a school. For example, I mean, you can look at Chico State, California State University, Chico, because that's the official name. We like to call ourselves Chico State. So you can go to the school website. I would recommend that you follow, but here's actually where you could search for alumni. And this is where we utilize this tool to find you later and ask you to come back to be on a panel or participate and help out with the current students. So look, there's over 100,000 alumni that are Chico State. And we have these really awesome charts here. So you can see kind of who they're working for, where they live, what they do, what they studied. Now, let's say that you're looking specifically for, I'm going to type in photographer or photography. I'm going to put my keyword in, right? And I use all lowercase, so I remember which one's mine. And I'm going to hit next, what they studied. So here we can click on photography or art studies. So you might have a couple that you add to your filter. And then I go ahead and X out the one that I did. I don't know why, sometimes the number goes up when I do this. I think it's just out of habit. But now, so we saw there are 196 alumni that are connected to photography in some way. If you don't know, you should know him. Jason's our photographer at Chico State. He was a communication design, right? So maybe he didn't do photography and art, but he ended up being a photographer through another way. Here's a photography 2012 student, right? Now you can utilize this in various ways. What roles are they doing? Or, are they instructor? Are they doing something entirely different? This is project management, but maybe photography is mentioned somewhere in her profile. So it doesn't mean that you're always going to get a nice, clean photography major. But now you can see these individuals and like, here's a video specialist. Like, wow, like if that's something that you've looked into, like, right, you have photography and videography, maybe you reach out to this person like, hey, Maria, I am also really interested in photography and videography. Do you have a moment to share with an alumni any tips that you have for someone wanting to go in the path that you've gone on? Right. So this is where we try to connect with people. We're not saying like, hey, Maria, can you give me a job? Like, please don't do that. That's not how we connect with people. We're trying to find a meaningful connection. So try to find something in common with them. And not so much like, can you give me? Like, it's not all about a give. You like, make the connection, because networking is not always like how many people you have on your network. It's also about, what does that relationship look like with that person? Like, have you taken the time to ask them questions or try to connect or review their work and what they've done? Maybe they have an online portfolio of their writing or of their artwork. Like, did you take time to look at it? And is there something that you can connect with that way? So this is where we can connect with the Chico State alumni. Or alumni at a school, like if you're looking at a graduate school, UC Berkeley or whatever it might be, that you can look at those schools and find those alumni. Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. Okay, one more thing that I want to share with you guys. It is not LinkedIn, but it is LinkedIn Learning. Now, in your portal, right, you have Blackboard, Wildcat Mail, you have this button that's called LinkedIn Learning. This is not LinkedIn, what we just went over to build a profile. This is something that the university pays for and you as a current student has free access to, right? Otherwise you'd have to pay for this. Now, LinkedIn Learning is an online platform of thousands of, I'm going to pull it up here because I've got it connected to my account, but you'd go through your portal. They are different courses that you can take for more development. But they primarily focus on business, creativity, and technology, which applies to most of our students, right? In one way or another. We definitely all need technology regardless of what industry we're in. You may need some kind of business, ideas to move forward. I tried pulling up a couple here, kind of related again to more of like that humanities and fine arts component, but there are so many courses that you could take. And maybe you did one little project with, Adobe InDesign, but you know that you want to be more proficient in that. Well, go in to LinkedIn Learning and you can take that course. So go back here. We can even type in Adobe InDesign. There's Adobe InDesign. And they'll have different versions, right? 2020, for example. This is a course. This is a 5-hour course. Some of them are 45 minutes, 22 minutes. You kind of have to look to see. I think you can even do like, how long do you want to spend on this? So you can also narrow it down. There are courses and there are also learning paths. And a learning path, if we clicked on it, like essentially if you want to be a master in something, it's multiple courses within that learning path. But let's go back to that course. So when you go here, we can look at the content. If you're just wanting one thing, like you're like, okay, like I know the fundamentals, I don't need to know that. I actually just need to know typing and editing text, right? That's where you want to start, then just start here, right? If you want to take the whole course, when you've completed the whole thing, you will get, here's my learning, learning history. I did learning Canva. I now use Canva a lot. I learned a lot from just doing the short one. Here's the download certificate, LinkedIn certificate, and you get this certificate. So you just download the PDF. So you essentially have proof that you've done it. Now, if you put on your resume that you know Adobe InDesign, right? It's not going to be common that employer says, hey, do you have a certificate for that? They're not going to do that. If you're putting on your resume that you feel proficient, in Adobe InDesign, then you're going to put it on your resume, right? You're not going to put it on there if that's not the truth. And so know that the certificate is not crucial, but it is kind of nice to be able to showcase that if you want to. And then you can actually have it come up on, if you wanted it to be on your profile. I don't know if you guys saw it earlier. Here's my learning Canva. Like I actually just had it added to my LinkedIn profile. And so, there's lots of different things in here, or maybe you want to dive into programming and that's not really something that your major focus is on, but that's an interest of yours and you maybe see value in that. Well, go learn C++, go learn Python, you learn Java, right? So I just want to make sure that you guys understand that this is available to you and you can further explore those skill sets that you want. There's even GarageBand. Anybody that wants to do some of that music on GarageBand, it's a really cool app or program. Like you can go on and you can learn how to use the platform. All right, so that was kind of the last thing that I wanted to throw at you guys, just to make sure this is a resource for you. It's not LinkedIn, but it's a platform of LinkedIn. And it's free right now while you're a student. So I take advantage of that. Any questions? That is all I have for you today. I appreciate everybody that participated and providing content there in the chat box, but feel free to unmute yourself or put anything in the chat with anything else that you have, and I'll stick around with any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.